Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for our webinar with our representatives from the Texas Home Living Program and the Home and Community-Based Services from the Harris Center. Today, we have got Dana Sobers-Bin with Home and Community Service. Y'all tell me if I get this wrong. And Annie Cuba with Texas Home Living Programs. And they're going to give you a lot of great information that you need. A lot of information that we encourage families to get right away. So this is very important information for you guys to have. And I'm going to turn it over to you guys now.
Right. Well, good afternoon. Thank you, Pat, for having us. As she said, we're from the Harris Center. I'm Dana Sobers-Bin, one of the HCS program directors. And I have my colleague, Annie Cuba, who's also the program director for Texas Home Living, as well as our HCS, one of our HCS programs here as well. So we'll try to present, it's kind of weird because I'm looking at both screens with it being shared. So please let me know if you don't see the slide that we may be speaking on. I'll start with the first one. So what is IDD services? So IDD is an intellectual or developmental disability that includes many and severe chronic conditions that are due to mental and or physical impairments. IDD can begin at any time up to 22 years of age, and people who have IDD have problems with major life activities such as language, mobility, learning, self-help, and or independent living. So what is the LIDA? Harris Center, Mental Health and Disabilities. We are the LIDA here for Harris County. It's the Local and Intellectual Developmental Disability Authority. Typically, it's the point of entry for the public-funded intellectual and developmental programs. It's responsible for providing and are contracting to provide an array of IDD services and support. We're also responsible for enrolling individuals into the following Medicaid programs. And so we'll talk a little bit more about those Medicaid programs. So who can get help? In Texas, the local IDD authority will determine if you can access service coordination services. There are several points of contact. The first, of course, is that the individual must be diagnosed with an ID. The second is the person must have a perversive developmental disorder, such as autism, as defined in the current edition of the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual. Thirdly, the person must have a related condition and be eligible for and enrolled in an HHSC program that serves people with IDD. And the fourth is the person must be either in a nursing home residence with a diagnosis or IDD or a related condition. So we have our eligibility determination unit, and please, Annie, jump in. I know some of your enrollment pieces fall under this as well, but we have our eligibility determination unit, and they determine eligibility for the IDD services, either through the access interest list, or either through intake, or through our business office or consumer benefits office in determining eligibility. So if you want to get connected to the Harris Center, we do have our patient access line. It's our toll-free 713-970-7000, option 2. The first thing is going to be the consumer services coordinator will explain which documents are needed and how, and they can schedule an intake appointment to come in. The second way, of course, is the business office staff person will be discussing possible fees that may apply once determined eligible for services. And then thereafter, the eligibility coordinator will meet to assess needs and explain those services and explain the rights. And lastly, if the person is eligible for services, a service coordinator will be assigned to help the individual and their family understand their rights and available benefits. So we talked a little bit about service coordination. What exactly is a service coordinator? Here at the Harris Center with our Medicaid waiver programs, we have service coordinators throughout all the programs. And the service coordinator acts as the primary contact for the coordination of those services for those individuals that's needing those supports and those services. They help to access medical, social, educational, and other appropriate services and supports that will help them in achieving a quality of life and community participation acceptable. They also will be an advocate for the individual as well as their loved one. So once you are assigned a service coordinator and have gone through the eligibility process and determining you're eligible for services, what should you expect from your service coordinator? So the first thing is, upon being assigned a service coordinator, they will schedule a time to come out and visit with you in the home or with your loved one in the home. They will return your calls. Should be within no later than 48 business hours.
That's on a good day. That's on a good day. Sometimes it may be up to 72 hours.
That is correct. But it should be within 48 hours. As Amy said, a lot of times they may be putting out other emergencies and are following up with other families. And so that's the protocol typically. But the service coordinator will also provide a folder. You'll receive that would include information for your loved ones, a person-directed plan or the PDP plan, or other information that is important for them to come out monthly to monitor those services and those outcomes. What else to expect from the service coordinator would be to assist in updating those plans as changes occur with your loved one. And then lastly, the service coordinator will assist in assessing desired services and monitor those through the progress of how those services are being implemented to ensure they're meeting the needs of the person that's receiving the actual services. So where can we find our service coordinator? Once the plan has been completed with the individuals and the guardians or family members, providers, the person's information about the service coordinator can be found on the first page of the PDP, the person-directed plan. The service coordinator will also place their contact information on the inside of the folder that they receive. And then the service coordinator can be contacted by reaching out to the IDD leadership here at the Harris Center, and or the contact information, the number, the 713-970-7000, option 2, and you can ask based on the individual who the assigned service coordinator is. So we will provide as well, Annie and I are two of the program directors here at the Harris Center with the Medicaid waiver programs, but we do have other program directors that are not here today, but we wanted to make sure to leave their information with you as well. And so our immediate director of service coordination is Janice Bain. Her contact information is listed there. And those are the programs within the waiver programs within IDD, that she is responsible for. So if there are specific questions or policies as it relates to your loved ones, then of course she would be the person to point of contact for all of the programs. In addition to that, we also have some of our other leaders with the other IDD programs, Kanika Caleb, who is responsible for our ECC, the Enhanced Community Coordination Program, as well as PASSAR, COS, our Continuity of Services, and then our Service Authorization and Monitoring. Her contact information is there. She does have a team leader or two team leaders that support those programs as well, Mallory Haggard and David Martinez. Mallory is responsible primarily for the COS and the ECC programs, and David would be responsible for the PASSAR program. So we'll talk a little bit about the general revenue. We do have, as I mentioned, some of our colleagues that are not here today, so I'll quickly go over this information, or Anna, maybe you want
I'll jump in.
Okay.
Okay. Basically, there are different things. I know you guys here to hear about Texas Home Living, so we won't harp too long on these other programs. But general revenue is basically one of the first doors. If someone's not in a waiver program, they can access general revenue services to receive certain things that they may need in the community. And that's found out once they actually come into the agency, like Dana was saying, and go through eligibility. If it's not for a waiver program, general revenue is the first step in the service coordination process. And they just connect you guys or families to resources in the community. So that's it in a nutshell. Go ahead, Dana. This is just more about some of the services general revenue provides. You can get respite, employment assistance, rehabilitation, supported employment, community first choice, behavior support, specialized therapies. And you see linkage of community resources. That could be services if you need assistance, I don't know, paying light bills, you may need furniture, anything that's a need, general revenue is where that can happen. Next, Dana. Okay, another program director and another program that we have here at the letter is Community First Choice. Kianika Johnson is the program director for Community First Choice. And she has two team leaders. Well, she also does basic service coordination, which is general revenue. She's the program director over that. And so she has two, Katrina Ware, which is a team leader for Community First Choice, and Miranda Baptiste Davis, who is the team leader for general revenue. So basically, CFC is a program. It's a Medicaid entitlement program. So you have to have Medicaid in order to receive those programs. Unlike GR, you don't necessarily have to have Medicaid. But as Dana spoke about, once you go into general revenue, if you don't have Medicaid, it may be a fee associated with the program and whatever services someone may want to receive. But Community First Choice is, like I said, a Medicaid entitlement program. And it's basically, they go through, they have assessment completed, and it's things that help them with their daily living skills. And it's not exclusive to people with ID. So typically, most people in the program does have ID, but they don't necessarily have to have ID. So some of what they do is personal assistance service, habilitation services, emergency response service, and support management. But again, in order to get it, you can send any one of us can make a referral over to the department, or if you call the agency and you just want you want CFC, a referral can be made to that division. They'll contact you. Next. Okay, now this is what you guys are here for. So let's stop and see, do you have any questions about anything that's been said thus far? Or we may even get to it after this. So if you have questions, you can put it, is it a chat feature on here? I don't know Zoom that well. Yeah, it's a chat feature. You can type your questions in the chat if you have a question, just so you won't forget it. Okay, I am Annie Cuba. I'm the program director for Texas Home Living, and I also do HCS, but I just recently started on HCS within the last year and a half or so. But I have two team leaders, Erica DeGracia, which does Texas Home Living, and Deandra Hines, she's the team leader for my HCS team. Me and Dana, we're gonna go back and forth talking about my HCS team and other program directors. HCS is large, so there are actually 4 of us that does HCS because it's only we're large. So all of it's HCS. Although Dana has certain teams, I have a certain team, and other program directors have certain teams. But Texas Home Living is a program that it's a waiver program where individuals are put on a list at some point in time in their life. Most of the time is when they come into, if they've ever been to the LITA, or even the school districts may put them on a list or have them called to get put on a list. The interest list is very long. It used to be, I'm gonna say now, I don't even know what it is. I don't even want to lie to you guys, but it used to be about 8 to 9 years long, but now we're more at like 10, 11, 12 years long. The state is currently releasing Texas Home Living slots, and they're releasing slots. They're on the year of April of 2009 to give you an idea how long the waiting list is, okay? You must have ID or a related condition to qualify for the program, and you must be able to get Medicaid. And there are different types of Medicaid that you have to have. Not all Medicaid is good for the program. Next slide, Dana. Services you can get within Texas Home Living. You can get nursing service, allergy, respite, occupational therapy, adaptive aids, dietary. As you can see, it's a number of things you can get. Also, that's not listed here, you can also get community first choice services. It's a little bit different from what Kenyanica does, but it's the same at the same time. It helps with daily living skills. Also, in order to get Texas Home Living, individuals have to live in their own home or family home. They cannot receive service living in a group home, a nursing facility, or anything like that. You have to live within their own home or family home. So, any questions regarding Texas Home Living before we jump to HCS? Okay. Then you want me to cover HCS, or you want to do it?
You can move forward.
Okay. As we stated, Dana is the program director as well. She also has 2 team leaders, which she really needs a third, Crystal and Kimberly. So as you can see, she has teams 2 and 3. So depending upon, and the teams are broken down by just what service coordinator, and we manage a certain number of staff, and they're broken up. That's how the teams are designed. Each one of our teams, outside of Dana, who I say she needs a third one, each one of our team leaders have 15 plus service coordinators. Okay, so we're really large, and each caseload is about 40 to 45. Okay, and right now we're at max. But Dana's team leaders, right now they're housing anywhere from 20 to 22 staff, still with the same caseload size. So we are massive, okay? Next slide. Here's Randy Garza. She's also a program director for HCS. She has 3, like I just stated, 3 teams, each with 15 service coordinators. Caseload of about 45. Next. Home and community. What is home and community-based services? Basically, it's a Medicaid waiver program as well. There is currently an interest list, waiting list, just like the Texas Home Living. For HCS, HCS is considered in some eyesight the cream of the crop, okay? Because it encompasses all the services Texas Home Living has, plus they have a residential model, which they can have group homes, or they can receive community first choice or live in their own home, family home. The waiting list for Texas Home Living used to be about 15 years. It's a little bit longer than that now. Currently, we're working on, I say we, but yes, the state is releasing slots from February of 2007. And again, we're in 2022, to give you some idea. You must have IDD or related condition to qualify, and you have to have Medicaid in order to receive this program as well. Okay. Again, we went over some of the, I've already stated the services. Again, the services are the same for Texas Home Living as it is for HCS, except we have a residential model. And the biggest difference between the two, Texas Home Living has a cap of $17,000. So no services can go over $17,000 in an IPC year, to where with HCS, there's not really a cap. It's really and truly need-based. All of it's need-based, but it's no cap. Meaning, there's no dollar amount tied to the services. It is, but people can get it. Next, Dana. And these are just resources that we have for you guys to be able to, get dental care, because dental is huge. In both programs, Texas Home Living and HCS, you can receive dental services, but it's once someone ages out of Medicaid. Okay, if they have Medicaid, and I think the age is 21, from 21 and under, Medicaid pays for that, and after the age of 21, HCS and Texas Home Living can pick it up. And so one time a year for Texas Home Living, they get $1,000. For HCS, they get $2,000 in dental. So that's another difference with that. And again, these are just, we put a lot of dental things up here because that's one of the biggest things that we have. Okay. Let me see what else is on here. So if you guys did know, but the center is the Center for Pursuit and Happiness is what they call it now. They have a dental program there. Richmond State Supported Living Center. I'm not sure if outside people can go there, but I really believe that you can, or they can give you a resource there where you can, and things like that. There's also estate planning, because I know a lot of families have questions about guardianship and estate planning. So wealth matters and disability rights could also assist with things of that nature. Because unfortunately, us here at the Harris Center, we don't really have resources. Well, I guess the word resource is not right. We don't have guardianship services here. So that goes through the probate court. They have to get attorneys, all that. The most we can do is give you lawyers' phone numbers, and that's about the most we can do with that. So, and really and truly, that's the end of the presentation if you guys don't have any further questions. Any questions?
I do have a question. Is there a situation where a person who is in the waiting list may drop off, not because or not longer qualify to be on the waiting list or something like that?
No, no one drops off the waiting list. First of all, anyone could get put on the interest list. I could put myself on the interest list. What it boils down to is on an annual basis, the litters try to call and contact, and it's not only the Harris County, other litters, Fort Bend, Gulf Coast, they try to make contact with families at least once a year to make sure their information stays up to date. One of the most important things for you guys to do, if you ever move, your phone number change, call your litter to make sure your information stays current. Because how it works is, the state HHSC releases the names to us, and then we go in and we look up the most current information that we can find to try to reach out to you guys. If we don't have good phone numbers, good addresses, and the slot may be withdrawn. So it's very, very, very important. But no, to just come off a list, no, you don't come off a list. Now, once someone's name is released for Texas Home Living, the HCS, we make contact. If you decline that service, depending upon the situation. So for example, if someone's receiving general revenue service and you decline Texas Home Living or HCS, you will lose general revenue services. because you're turning down the better program. Okay. However, you can go back on the list for general revenue. Okay, so that's how that works. But no, you just can't get turned down, or you won't be taken off the list. You know, no, it doesn't work like that.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the answer.
No problem. Anything else? And I'll speak at once. I know there has to be questions. I know we wasn't that good, or maybe we were that fabulous.
I have a question.
There's got to be questions because we get them all the time.
I've been trying to listen, and I'm at work too. I'm trying to multitask, but essentially, to get the process started, we need to contact the Harris Center Patient Access Line, or that's just for that first program you were talking about?
Yes, basically you call in, you call the 713-970-7000, and the option is 2. But if you can't remember the 2, just tell them that you need to speak to the eligibility department, and it goes from there. Okay, so if you've never been put on the interest list, the eligibility department can put you on the interest list. If you are on the interest list, that's one thing, because they can't do anything with where you are on the interest list. But if you want to receive general revenue services, they would then do their assessment. If you have a DID that's already done, and say if the school district completed the DID, make sure you bring that DID in. They'll tell you all this. You can bring that DID in, and they may just need to update it. If they've never had a DID completed, that's when the eligibility department will get a DID completed as well. They'll do an assessment, and then they'll assess everything, send it up to general revenue, and then someone should contact you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else? Going once? Going twice?
Well, thank you for all of this information. It's been great for us. I know that, and we'll get lots of questions, I promise you. So I'll be calling you again. But thank you guys so much for joining us today and giving us this information. I know a lot of families do reach out with questions, and you guys have been great helping us get this information out there.
Not a problem. And the biggest thing is, if someone is not on the interest list, and I know it's like, it doesn't matter, I'll never get on the interest list. Get on the interest list, because they are releasing names. So hopefully the list starts moving faster and faster and faster. We never know from month to month what we're going to get or whatever. But if you're not on a list, get on a list. You can get on a list of everything: class, MDCP, just everything. Okay.
Yes, I agree. Do it. My daughter is 24, just turned 24 years old. She has Down syndrome. And, you know, in the beginning when she was little, you know, I would hear about these things and I would just, no, I'll take care of her. I'll take care of her. And, you know, then it came in, she has a lot of health issues. So then, you know, it kind of, the doctors were saying she wouldn't make it make it to the age of 18. So of course, you know, I was like, well, why am I going to do this if she's not even going to be around? And, you know, as the years go on and, you know, when it got closer to her being 18, or actually, I think around the time she was 15, I finally was like, you know what? I need to put her on these lists. And I know that, I mean, I think I only have her like on one list, maybe on a second one. I don't know. But yeah, I cannot tell all of you parents, whatever age your child is right now, like, please listen to these ladies and take them up and get your children on these lists, because if not, you're going to be like me. And like I said, I have a 24-year-old, and thank God her brother and sister helped me to take care of her. You know, they're just such a blessing. But at some point in time, even if you don't think right now you'll ever need it, I'm letting you know, don't make the same mistake I did. You will need it, so do it.
Yeah, get on the list. You can make a decision when you're offered if you need it at that point in time, but get on the list. And that's another thing to look into, and I don't want to keep going and going and going, but it's guardianship. Because once your child turns 18 years old, yeah, you're mom, but you're no longer the legal guardian. And us as a litter, we do not recognize power of attorney. So keep that in mind. Some places do, some places don't. You start looking into guardianship if your baby's getting ready to turn, you know, close to it. And it takes a couple of years. So again, that's just a bit of advice.
That's thank you for bringing that up. So once they turn, my daughter is only 7, but as things are going right now, it may come to when she's 18 or something, and she's still on the waiting list. So as a parent, what do we need to do? What papers do we need to get in place for her to do this? You said that you guys don't recognize the power of attorney, just the guardianship papers that needs to be in place?
Yes, I mean, now how we do it as a litter, we do, although we don't recognize power of attorney, we only really look at guardianship, we don't just shut a parent out. You know, because you guys are still their advocates, you guys are still, you still know them best. We work with both, you see what I'm saying? So like we have families that's individuals that's nonverbal, they can't speak for themselves. Of course, we're gonna talk to mom, although that individual is their own guardian. Even if there's a situation to where the individual is their own guardian and mom is there. Now the problem comes in if you have a very high functioning individual and they say, oh, I don't want this. I don't want you coming to my house. But mom's like, you know, we take what mom says, but ultimately it's up to that individual. So yes, I say right about the age of 16, 17, start looking into actual guardianship.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
And another thing, I know it got covered quickly, but one of the programs we offer is a day program for once they have aged out of public school. And these providers actually pay for the adults to come here. So it's not something that comes out of mom and dad's pocket. And that adds up if you want them out of the house more than just one day a week.
It really and truly does. So that's the rehabilitation piece. And another service within HCS that a lot of families get is what we call host home. Basically, once the individual is 18 or older, the state is going to pay you to take care of your child. You know, if they're living if they reside in your home, you get respite care, you know, to go out and get breaks that you guys, you know, most certainly need. So all of that, get on the list. Okay.
I have that day program that you provide. That's through the Down syndrome or through DASH? It's not the same thing as the Friends of Down Syndrome?
We are the same thing, just 2 different organizations.
Oh, okay. Well, I was just gonna, because my daughter was supposed to start at Friends of Down Syndrome, but some health stuff came up, so she's got a delayed start right now. And this is more just for the other parents, like apparently the waiver program that we are on won't cover the caregiver hours. Like they won't let the school provide the caregiver hours. So just like I said earlier, get on all the lists. You need to get on all the lists.
Okay, well, if there are no more questions, Annie and Dana, thank you so much for giving us your time today.